understanding that the preferred list of the Sanders campaign is on the front and the Clinton campaign is on the front, and we're asking you, as a recommendation from the executive committee, that you vote for the slate of both the Clinton campaign and the Sanders campaign, regardless of which candidate for president you support. Each candidate at the primary election on April 19th was allotted a number of delegates, and it was a lot of work that was done between the Clinton campaign, the Sanders campaign, and the state committee, working in harmony, that this slate had come together, and the Sanders campaign and the Clinton campaign are asking you to support the slate candidates. Thank you.
I need you to get all of this on. Oh yeah, but I have to break it up. I wish did you know we were allowed to, I'm sorry, we were allowed to go into the executive committee. I didn't know that. In this executive committee, we were saying we had to take these people serious. That they're people watch the vote. I didn't know we were allowed to go in there. Yeah, she said, she went in there, and she said there was right here. Like the one sitting right next to Kimberly, right?
Mary?
Yeah.
Mary's the state committee person.
I didn't. Oh, then why is she's telling me anybody could go in, so maybe, okay. Oh, I'm confused then.
Hello again. One more thing. If you've completed your ballots, the table to my left, that's your right, we'll collect the ballots, just hand them in as you have completed them. And we will do the meeting as the balloting goes forward. Thank you.
The meeting is going to be called to order. You can continue voting as we hold the meeting, and so I just want to let you know that we've got to get going if you want to make those trains back into the city today.
We gotta cross.
All right, now we're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance, and I'd like everyone who can to stand, please, and Kenny Agostino. I apologize, Kenny.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I also want to ask for a moment of silence for the men and women. Okay, I'm going to ask for a moment of silence for the men and women who serve in uniform and who have served and are currently serving in our country, and those who have passed away. And one very sad news that we got yesterday was Tom DiNapoli's father has passed. So just to let you know, it's going to be a really sad time for him now. So let's take a moment to remember all of these people. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to welcome everyone here today, and I know that this is going to be a little, what's the word? Confusing. There's going to be a little confusion, but just make sure that the state committee people who have the ballots, they can continue filling them out as we speak, and then they'll be handing them out at the end of the dais at the end. Okay, I'm going to first of all introduce the Saratoga County Chairman, Todd Kerner, for welcoming remarks.
I'd like to welcome everybody to Saratoga County. We're very honored for the state committee to have this meeting here. Saratoga County has been working hard to change from a red county to a blue county. We have a city council finally, 4 out of the 5 seats right here where you are, a mayor that's a Democrat, 4 city commissioners, and we also are very honored to have, for the first time in hundreds of years, a assemblywoman was elected with the Saratoga-based county population as a Democrat, Carrie Warner. She wanted me to welcome you all as well. We're very proud of her. We're very proud of all the Democrats we have in our county, and we're very thankful you all could come here today. Thank you.
And now I'd like to welcome the mayor of Saratoga Springs, who's going to say a few words, Joanne Yepsen.
Good morning. Good morning. How's everybody doing in Saratoga Springs? Woo! I'm so thrilled to see you all here. I mean, anytime you can get a room of Democrats, it's wonderful. I used to have to go to Albany to catch Democrats, but look at all these Democrats right here in Saratoga Springs. It's just wonderful. Thank you all for being here. I really hope you can enjoy our city a little bit when you're here, and when you come back, please go and take a mineral bath. Go to the Saratoga Performing Arts Center. Wander around downtown. There's so many restaurants and boutiques that are just calling out for you to spend your money because we really rely on that sales tax revenue. Go to the races. We have 2 racetracks. There's so much to do here, and we have democratic business right here at hand. And I just want to say congratulations and thank you to Sheila Komar, and I want to say congratulations and thank you to the mayor of Buffalo, Mayor Brown. It's a pleasure to have so many Democratic mayors in upstate New York. Have a great day. Thank you.
And now it's my honor to introduce someone we know very well, who is very active and is doing wonderful things for the state, and it's our great Lieutenant Governor, Kathy Hochul.
Good morning, Democrats. Well, we're 10 minutes away from being afternoon. I can say it again in 10 minutes if you want, but welcome to Saratoga. Now, first of all, Mayor, I've actually heeded your call to spend money in your community. You can see my credit card bill from every time I visit here, so thank you and great welcome. And what a wonderful community that you have up here. And it brings us all together, a chance as Democrats to recharge our batteries, refresh our souls, and to go onward to our mission. And Todd Kerner, thank you again as well for your leadership in bringing back a very Republican county to the right side of the slate and then electing so many Democrats here. So congratulations again to you, Todd. Sheila, I've so enjoyed our friendship. And we do a little retail therapy together too when we get together, and I'm always stopping up here saying hi to my friends in this part of the state, and thank you for assuming the role of leadership when we needed you. You stepped up, and you are an amazing partner of the governor, working to elect Democrats, and I want to thank you on behalf of the governor again, and myself, and all of us for your efforts as our chairperson. Let's give it up to Sheila Komar. In every corner of this state, and I want to thank you again for your tireless energy and enthusiasm on behalf of the values that join us as Democrats. And again, I want to give you another round of applause for you assuming this important position. And I know you heard from our governor last night, and boy, is that a ruckus crowd when he started speaking. It was amazing. And I want to thank him again for something he did 2 years ago yesterday. And that was to nominate me, ask me to be his running mate for lieutenant governor. But it didn't happen just the governor. It happened because the people in this room put your faith in me. And I want to thank all of you because I will never forget what you did to give me this incredible honor to represent the entire state of New York as your lieutenant governor. It's been 2 years, and what an amazing journey. My staff would tell you that when we keep track of the miles I've been around the globe at least 3 times now, I think. Melissa, we're coming up on 4, okay? We're gonna do it, but that means it's just not miles in a car. It is touching people and listening to their concerns. And whenever I go anywhere, I also say, show me the Democrats. Now, some places it's a little bit easier. When I'm walking in Manhattan or Brooklyn and Queens and the Bronx and some parts of Staten Island, you have some Democrats there. I've met them. Some places a little bit easier. Other places like, okay, let's go meet in this basement. We don't want to be seen with any too many Democrats. That's more my old congressional district. But I want to give a shout out to my GLOWs as well, the GLOW chair people that were with me, the Judith Hunter's there, Irene Stein, the head of our rural Democrats. You know, it's tough to be a rural Democrat, but we have great leadership. We're going to continue electing Democrats all across the state. My hometown chairman, Jeremy Zeller, my hometown Erie County chairman, thank you. And I do want to congratulate Byron Brown, because I feel that I have known him throughout his journey of public service. Yeah, go ahead and give a shout out. That's all right. Let's flip it up for Byron Brown. He has been there rallying Democrats throughout his entire journey. In fact, Byron and I were both elected to local office in 1995. Yes, we're that old. We were elected back then. He was elected to the Maston District in the city of Buffalo. I was elected 20 minutes away in the town of Hamburg, and we've grown together. And as he stepped up to his work there, but also the Senate, and his work as our mayor, he's done an incredible job. He is the governor's partner in bringing back not just Buffalo, but bringing it back upstate New York, and I want to give him a huge round of applause. I'm so looking forward to having Byron Brown as our next chairman. But this is a federal election year. This is really what gets our blood going as Democrats. I mean, this is the Super Bowl for us. And you know what? We have a little scrimmages throughout, and we came through a very spirited primary here in the state of New York, and that's what I love about Democrats. We're not afraid to say who we're with and what our values are, but at the end of the day, I think there's one scary thought that unites us. Yes, you know what I'm talking about. And I would say that united rallying cry has got to be, read my lips, no Donald Trump in the White House, okay? That's got to unite us. That will unite us. And we have some work to do, but I'll tell you what's easy for us as Democrats, when you talk about how progressive our state has been through history, you talk about the women's rights movement, the women's right to vote movement started right here in our state, and we are coming up on the 100th anniversary of the women's right to vote in the state of New York. Let's give it up for the women who stood up in Seneca Falls 100 years ago with courage, and the men who stood with them. An important asterisk, the men who stood with them in that cause. And Civil Rights Act. I come from Western New York, on the borders of Canada. The NAACP found its origins, its very first meetings were in our state of New York. The environmental movement started here. The LGBT movement started in the state of New York. There is no other state can lay claim to our incredible history. But it's not about just looking back at our history. We are all called at this moment in time to decide what our legacy will be. And thank God we have a governor, Andrew Cuomo, who's answered that call with bold vision that is taking us to places that no one could have imagined possible. And I'm so proud when I go around the state and I see the impact of not just what he's done in economic development and getting people jobs, and we are doing amazing things in upstate New York particularly, which was long left behind by his predecessors. But when he talks about not just the rights I spoke of, but family rights, the right of someone to be able to work 40 hours a week and guess what, not live in poverty, and that's why we increase the minimum wage. It's about respecting families, or about family leave. And I'm telling you, this is so profoundly important because the rest of the nation is watching what New York State did on this issue. And we have now the most generous family leave policy in America, and I believe that we are going to always be viewed as the leader in this initiative, and you should be proud. It is not easy to get these through the legislature. Okay, don't take it for granted. It takes a governor to lay out a bold vision, but also the ability to pull it together and get it over the finish line. And that's what he's done during his 6 years as our leader in the state government. And I want you to make sure that all of you as Democrats go out and tell those stories. Tell the rest of the state what a difference it makes when we have Democrats instead of Republicans running our state. And that's the message our governor asked you to take to our convention as well. Proudly tell people that these are New York values. And I know that there was a time in this election when they actually criticized New York values. Remember that? Like, okay, bring it on. Okay, yeah, I'm proud of my New York values. And you know what we hear from these folks? They want to take America back. Back to what? Where are they taking us back to? They taking us back to when there are 2 different lines for a water fountain? They taking us back to when people went around with not allowing someone to live or work somewhere because of who they loved? Is that what you're taking us back to? Are they taking us back to a time when only rich white men who owned land could vote in this country? Is that what we're going back to? No. We are not going back with them. We are going forward as Democrats, and I expect that will be with Hillary Clinton when we elect her as our next president of the United States. Let's do it. Let's show what New York Democrats are all about. Thank you for joining us.
Bernie Sanders.
Now we're going to have Michael Wright talk again about the ballots.
I think many of you were in the room when I explained the ballots and how the process works. We gave out the ballots early so that everyone would have an opportunity to get them, because it's going to take quite a bit of time to tabulate the results, because these votes are calculated based upon proportional voting as set forth in the previous gubernatorial election and apportioned by Democratic performance in each of the assembly districts. You will see on your ballots that there are 3 forms that you received, one for pleos, one for at-large, and another for alternates. The number of delegates apportioned to Secretary Clinton and the number of delegates apportioned to Senator Sanders were based upon the results of our April 19th primary. The number of delegates that each presidential candidate is entitled to is not for us to change. That was decided by the voters of the Democratic Party here in the state of New York. Our job as members of the state committee is to select pledged elected party officials, at-large delegates, and alternates to represent us at the Democratic National Convention. And it was a way of being able to bring other party leaders into the delegation and also assure that we balance the election based upon male and female, because under our rules that were adopted by this party, we have an equal selection of male and female members to represent us. In addition, we have specific goals that we are attempting to achieve with regard to representation of all different groups of people. And with that being said, the Clinton team and the Sanders team, working hand in hand, just as they will as we go to the convention in July, and as we will when we go to elect a Democratic president in November, they have come to an agreement on a slate of Democratic members to represent you at the Democratic National Convention, and you will see on each of your forms a Clinton slate and a Sanders slate for the pleos, for the at-large, and for the alternates. The recommendation from the nomination committee, as well as from the executive committee, is that you support both the Clinton slate and the Sanders slate. If you choose not to, that you have a right to do. But we ask that you do that because those slates have been carefully worked on. They have been carefully crafted to balance all of the goals that we are seeking to achieve, and it was done in harmony between the 2 campaigns. I am a witness because I was there watching it happen. And with that, I would like to ask the counsel to the Sanders campaign, Arthur Schwartz, to come up and say a few words.
actually, I'm no longer on the state committee, but I did serve. I'm a district leader in Manhattan, and I served on this body for 7 years. And it took Bernie Sanders to get me up in front of the body. I think that's a great achievement. As I said, I've been a district leader or state committee member for most of the last 20 years. So I'm very familiar with this party and what goes on in it, and sometimes I'm on the same side as some people here, and sometimes we're on the opposite side. We're all still Democrats, and I'm certainly committed to the Democratic Party. I'm counsel to the Sanders campaign here in New York, and have been working on that effort since December to make sure we got people on the ballot, make sure that the ballot was set up properly. Unfortunately, we got overwhelmed by some not so great events on election day, on primary day. But I've continued since then, and I want people to understand, I think you do understand, the Bernie Sanders movement reflects a tremendous ferment and movement and opportunity for the Democratic Party in New York State and around the country. But there is also, unfortunately, there's also a tremendous amount of distrust maybe on both sides, but there's certainly on my side, there's a tremendous amount of distrust. And I can tell you, and I think Basil can attest to this, anyone that looks on Facebook, I've preached with the blessing of the Sanders campaign that we should work together with the New York State Democratic Party leadership to try to make our delegation one where everything works, where everybody respects everybody else, and where the process comes out to reflect at least what the vote was, what the declared vote was on April 19th. And so, and the Sanders campaign is committed to continue that work, to build trust between the two sides. It's going to be a trust based on principle. And in this particular effort, I work closely with Basil Smikle, with Council Reich, with Tom Gary from the Clinton campaign, and other people who met a number of times and exchanged countless numbers of phone calls, exchanged dismaying emails with the DNC who weren't happy with things, to try to come out with a delegation on the at-large part. That's the part that it wasn't elected on primary day. An at-large delegation and a PLEO delegation and alternates to the convention, which reflected the demographics of the state and which reflected the equality between men and women that is very important to this party. And so the slates that you have in front of you, the slates are the product of, and Tom had a harder time than me. I have to bow to him for his hard work. I don't know where he is. But putting together a slate that was balanced with old, young, Black, Hispanic, Asian, disabled, LGBT, activists, young activists, older activists, to try to come to the convention with a delegation that reflected our state, politically and reflected our state demographically. And so the slate that both of us have on your sheets, there's a slate box, reflects that. It disappointed some people, it didn't disappoint other people, but the one thing,
you told me I was on the ballot.
The one thing that I can say is that in the process, despite all the rumors that Bernie's going to lose delegates and they're going to take away delegates from us, nothing of the sort happened. The people that are on the slate are the people that the campaign wants on the slate, that believe best represent the demographics and the politics of our wing of the Democratic Party. And I applaud the leadership of the State Democratic Party for working so closely together with us to come up with this result. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Arthur. And I would like, just in fairness, to call up Tom Gary, our friend from Nassau County, who is representing the Clinton campaign, to just say a few words.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, everyone. I'll be very brief. I'd also like to thank Arthur in particular for working collaboratively with us and with the state party. It really was a pleasure. As we joked when we first sat down, math is math, okay? We understood exactly how many delegates the Clinton folks are entitled to, how many delegates the Sanders folks are entitled to. We worked collaboratively together to achieve that. We put together what we believe is a very, very strong slate of delegates that will be unified when we all head down to Philadelphia. So I concur with Arthur. If you are supportive of Hillary Clinton here today, I would ask you to vote for the slate as proffered by the Clinton campaign, together with the slate proffered by the Sanders campaign, and together we could put together a tremendous delegation to go down to Philadelphia. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. That's a great show of unity.
Now I'm honored to introduce someone who I respect very much, and I think she's doing a wonderful job in the position that she holds. She is the first woman who has held this position in the New York State Senate, the Honorable Andrea Stewart Cousins. Let's give her a good hand.
Thank you, Sheila. We love you back. She was really very delicate. She said she's the first woman that had this position. She didn't say what, right? In the Senate. It's true. But in this progressive state, I'm the first woman leader, period. Albany, in the Assembly, in the Senate, wherever. And in that place where women's rights were born and civil rights were born, there is so much more that we can do and so much more that we have to do. And that's why we're here. I was talking to some young Democrats on the weekend. Yeah, hi, Michael. And I looked out at them, just like you, incredibly dedicated, diverse, understanding that we have the vision that will bring not only New York forward, but our nation forward. And I thank them for having the good sense at their young age for being Democrats. I thank them. And I thank them because of what we just saw here. We saw two parts of our Democratic family respectfully saying to one another, we've got to make it work, because we've got to come to Philadelphia. We've got to be united. We've got to win. We've got to make sure that a Democrat is in the White House. Because that is what we have to do. I'm not even speaking the name of that which we must fight. I'm not giving any energy to that. Okay? That's done. We just gotta win. And I always say, full disclosure, I am a Hillary delegate. All right.